considered a home track to many drivers. Welcome along for the ride here at Northamptonshire, UK for the British Grand Prix for round number 8. My name, of course, the voice of also alongside me, as per usual, the OG voice and F1 Ben, and we just experienced a gripping and epic qualifying session, and here is your grid for it. Pole number 4 in his debut season for ERL Burundi. The champion leader continues on what has been a very strong season, but hasn't won since round 1, so has got the odds stacked against him. It's Shizu Mulder, the winner of the Canadian Grand Prix, starts from P2 for Red Bull. Row 2 consisting of the championship contender of Sims with LCR Leopard after taking the victory last time out, starts from P4 today. He has finished first and second in his 2 races in his return. Row 3 consists of the AlphaTauri of John Papp with Boris Letterbox making it 3-6 for the 2 Williams, and continuing on a strong showing of pace. Row 4, FRA Vivid and FXBR Dean, the loan of either side of the team's Racing Point or just one driver, and the same goes for Renault. Row 5, right outside the top 10, the new boy at Mercedes, Melanie, after joining from Racing Point, starts from 9th, with Pietramato rounding outside the top 10 for the Italian in the McLaren. Row 6 consists of Haas and Ferrari, an all Ferrari powered 6th row, with Exo Venom out qualifying Drizzt's Revenge to make it 11th and 12th. From row 7 at the back of the field, it's once again Haas against Ferrari. It's Flying Finn ahead of LCR Apex, the only world champion other than Leopard on the grid, the only British champion in the LCR grid, at the back of the field. But as you see, drivers are thick and fast. Match up. One of course is the voice of also Elson, also me as per usual with the OG voice and F1 Ben. And Ben, that qualifying session really was nip and tuck.
Oh, it was absolutely phenomenal. Top 10 separated by just over half a second, and that is exactly what we want to see in this enthralling, what should be an absolutely brilliant Grand Prix here. We have we don't particularly have that much change in tyres. In fact, the only driver to be on the medium tyres is Esray Bentham in P11, which is very very nice to see. But nice to see at least somebody taking on the medium tyres to make sure well, also the strategy. However, I think with Bentham here could potentially make some good places here, but the top 10 all on start. It's going to be pretty hard, but the gap was nearly 6 tenths back to Bentham, Drizzt's, Finn and Apex.
Yes, of course, and well, ERL Burundi has been the man to beat all season, but he has been beat pretty much all season. He leads the way in the championship by 21 points over the man that starts in P3 in Sim. Strategy, you can see, fairly simplistic one-stop from the soft to the medium. Other than X-Ray event, we expect to do the medium to the soft. We have no forecast of rain, despite the fact the clouds look very heavy compared to qualifying, which of course took place just a few minutes ago. The British Grand Prix is one that many drivers want to add to their repertoire of victories across not only LCR, but league racing as well. And I'm sure a few of the Brits want to take it home for the home country as well. Watch out for Sims and Boris 3rd and 6th, the highest of the 2 Brits. Watch out, though, for the raging Flying Dutchman in P2, but also the champion leader who is trying to bring the norm back to Brazil on the pole position. But as we build up towards the 5 red lights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and LCR Season 9 is off in Britain. It's a good start there from Burundi, pretty good from Leopard as well. As you see, Sims is trying to slot in as well as they come towards turn 1. Leopard running outside of Sims, heading up towards turn 2. They come now for the first time. Leopard into P3. John Papp holding on to P4 just about, but as they come down towards the line for the first time, it looks to be Burundi lead. Oh, there's a car off, and FRA Vivid in the background. Massive crash involving him, but Sims has got P3 back from Leopard as they head up towards Aintree Corner for the first time. The front 2 safely ahead away, but now Leopard's got the inside line down towards Brooklands Corner with the overtake on as well. Also look up behind, that's also Boris and John Papp squabbling away, but down the inside goes Leopard to try and take P3 back, but through towards Leopard. The switchback is more than on for the 5-time champion, and can he hold it? Sims is still trying to hold it as well as they head on towards Woodcote. This is on the top 2 to Scarpa on clear in the opening lap as they now head towards Cops. Who's going to give way? Neither car leaving an inch, but Leopard holds on. An incredible duel at the front, but it looks to be carnage down the back, Ben.
Yeah, so I was actually very, very close to the action. I was just sat in the midfield. I was actually about to get the Novado. We just go take place extra Bentham. So there was a little bit, I believe it was a bit of lag that caused the incident. John Papp's got some serious issues. Melody just went through him on my screen for connection-wise. And unfortunately, I think John might have started this race because his connection is pretty darn bad and he's going to cause some serious issues.
Not sure all the Italians coming into the pits. Pietramato has obviously picked up damage in the melee that was the first loop section, which means he's now come in, and once again the timing screens decide to have a glitch. So do ignore it. It is still Burundi that leads from Mulder, Leopard, Sims, Boris, So the two Williams now come together on track. You thought Sims was going to hold the position from Leopard, but neither car really was giving an inch in the opening lap. And in the end, it's led up to the fact that Apex is somehow now in P4. That's definitely not right. The timing screen now does fix itself. I don't know if we've lost Ben for a second. Anyway, nevertheless, heading up towards the Woodcut corner, and as you can see, Leopard is now going to close in on his teammate. Shazim Mulder, LCR Leopard, without doubt, a very big formatting team in LCR that has been formed for the remainder of the season. But at the moment, Mulder's still ahead. Oh, there's a car off, and it's FRA Vivid again on the exit of Copse Corner and has immediately gone out of the session. No more driving to be seen for Racing Point this time round. Let's see if there's a safety car deployed or if anything happens. But at the moment, we're still at green flag racing other than at Maggots and Beggetts. Ben, your thoughts early on from the British Grand Prix? No, not getting a peek from it. Obviously some sort of issue going on at the moment, but as you can see now, as Burundi, I believe, went fastest of all on that last lap. Yes, he did 24.140, nearly matched by LCR Leopard, only 100th between them in the fastest lap efforts on lap 2. But now with DRS enabled, you do wonder, can Leopard have a bit of a pounce at his teammate? But Mulder is just about hanging on to the DRS behind Burundi as well as they come down towards Brooklands corner for the third time. It's still fairly one by one, other than in the battle for P8 as Dean finds a way past Flying Finn, and both Hasses have got themselves into the points.
Yeah, both Hasses up into the points. It's definitely very good for them there, because for the last season they were in the battle for the points. Mulder has let Leopard through. Well. They've been working fairly well.
I mean, how often is it you get to say that Mulder is a number 2 driver in a team?
It always hurts to see it, to be honest, sometimes. But when you've got a partnership this strong, and a 6-time world champion, and a man who can play easily with the race, sometimes what's best for the team comes before what's best for the drivers. And in this case, I just think Leopard's clearly the fastest driver. He's pulled 86/10 on Mulder, and a fast lap of the race for Leopard as well. He can definitely keep with Burundi. I'm not sure Mulder can. I think Mulder needs to clear quite early, just because of the state of his tyres. They do not look in the best condition.
Yeah, early on for the Flying Dutchman, not quite the very much rugged start that I expected from him. I thought he was going to be really fast at the blocks to try and challenge Burundi in the opening lap, but he got away because there was so much scrambling going on behind him. But other than that, as the calm has settled down, he has not been on the pace, and meanwhile he's gone deep at Brooklands, and that's allowed Sims to have a door open that if you were really aggressive you would have took, but I think he was just that little bit too far back. But this has got to be encouraging to see Mulder struggling for Sims, because he's thinking, right, I've got a chance to attack the car in front, because as you can see, Leopard is still continuing to maintain a gap and also pull in one himself.
Yeah, we'll see how the 6-second jump lap. He has got gravel on his tyres. I think he might have got a little bit loose in the little second. He's thrown him completely to the backfield. While I was having some controller issues, he had to know his performance was like his field. What happened to him?
He got damage on lap 1. I think he was involved in the melee with Vivid and got throwing damage as a result, so was forced to pit. Wow. Mulder's very, very loose at the Vale chicane as they now come towards
Leopard has no ERS. No ERS at all.
Oh, he has. He's really been pushing.
He wanted
Is
to
this
get
just
back in
the DRS?
Yeah, I think he just wanted to get back in the DRS with Burundi. Burondi's chilling at 56%. He's just don't need to push at all. Leopard's now back in the DRS now. He's using overtake. I think Leopard wants to go. I think Leopard wants to leave. I think Leopard's working best here in clean air. I don't think he can afford realistically to get caught behind Burundi, because he needs to save some DRS, so he needs to get past Burundi and try and break his DRS to him. Maybe the best idea is to play behind, but the dirty air, I'm not sure Leopard's still just going to work in dirty air. But he's bringing along now. We effectively have a DRS train for the lead now. Mulder, Leopard, Grundy, Leopard, Mulder, Sims, Boris, all in this little train. And a track like this, I doubt they're going to pick up many warnings or penalties.
Yeah, of course, round here, two DRS zones that, of course, are very good overtime opportunities, as we're on one now, heading down towards Stoke Corner. The other heading towards Brooklands Corner, out of Aintree Corner in the first sector. So it's really interesting to see the fact that Leopard wants to really charge early. I mean, this could possibly be something to do with the fact that he maybe set up his car to plan to get a good qualifying, but in the end had to settle for P4 and has now carved through the first one after some really aggressive driving. But now he's got to find a way past Burundi, and as we've seen this season, Burundi is very good at defending his position. He just kind of knows the correct place to put his car as they short shift up the third gear, now coming with overtake very briefly there for Lep, but now opens the DRS heading down towards Brooklands Corner. We're watching the Red Bull drivers now got a second out to his teammate, which could allow Sims to get a bit closer to him, but also Boris is very much within the company of his teammate, so it's so far to be a game of teammates at the moment. The two Ferraris are battling further down the field, the two Red Bulls have swapped positions, and as well the two Williams squabbling away. Meanwhile, John continues to fall down the order with them. Of course, difficulties that he's suffering at the moment. Of course, had a spin, got hot tyres, probably got more wear as well. He's just been passed by Dean, who's got himself in the P7. And now as they head up towards Maggots and Begits once again, as you can see by the gap, Sims getting close to Mulder, but also Leopard keeping Burundi for company. But I don't think it's close enough for an attack on this particular attempt. Head towards Stowe, once again has to sit behind, but he's keeping the Champs leader honest at the moment, I would say, if Ben is back. Some vicious balance. John gets a free time as he gets past Dean into P7 there. At the moment, as you Sims just now we're on board with the Williams driver. The man is at P2 in the championship as it stands. Hasn't got any of his main contenders of Melanie and Amaze. Of course, Melanie is down in 6th position. Amaze, crucially, not here today. 4th and 5th. Both not available, the same as 6th place in the championship. Obviously, he would feel that if Leopard can get a strong points finish, he will go ahead of drivers, who of course has resigned for the season, and the AlphaTauri of Aiden, who has not been here at the Austrian Grand Prix and is due to miss the next 2 races after this, because we travel to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, and then we get to go to the Temple of Speed at Italy, rounds 9 and 10 of our circus. Mulder's got back inside the DRS just about. Leopard ahead. He's just gone deep at Cop's corner. Mulder gets a time penalty for his troubles. Leopard does not, but he didn't really lose a lot of time, so I'm not too sure which way you're going to look at that. But Leopard all of a sudden is driving very gingerly due to the issues that he's just suffered, and that's allowed Mulder just to creep back in within an arm's reach. Made the way through towards Stoke Corner, and Leopard begins to get back closer again to BRL Burundi. It's a really interesting fight that we've got on the cards. But meanwhile, early stop, Sims on lap 7 has come into the pits for his stop. We anticipate a 1 stop from soft to medium. Let's see what the Williams does. Of course, at the very end of the camp, as John Papp goes fastest of all with 27.7, he's clearly turned up the gas a bit, really momentarily P3 in qualifying earlier with a really good lap time. Goes onto the medium tyres, does Sims, and should come out clear of Pierre Giamatis, who's got all the clean air in the world, so a really good undercut attempt here. Could be on the cards for the Williams, but it's got to do a big old stint to get to the end of this one. At the moment, however, Leopard and Burundi still about 6/10 apart, and will that potentially be able to kick up the backside for the Red Bull and Alfa Romeo teams to think, right, is it time to pull our driver in? Ben,
yeah.
Your thoughts on the fact Sims has come in?
It's about when I expected people to come in, to be honest. It's about the time where you can pull off a really good undercut. I'm sorry I keep having to go on being dragged in every which direction at the moment. It's a very busy day. So if I'm honest, I do the opposite of what each other's going to do. I don't think it's smart coming together. Just because coming together is pretty much a good chance that Burundi will be able to get the trumpet first. That's exactly what they do. Grundy in, Leopard stays out, Mulder comes in. And Grundy speeds! Speeding in the pit lane, 5 seconds behind Vero Grundy. Oh dear.
Rookie mistake here at the British Grand Prix. Of course, it is a slower pit stop. It's a 37 mile an hour speed limit compared to the usual 50 mile an hour that you get at most circuits. So that's going to be really crucial for him because he won't serve it in this pit stop. He instead will serve that later on. Meanwhile, as well into the pits, Melanie and Dean both come in for their said scheduled stops. In terms of the pit stops themselves, there was no sort of issues from anyone. In terms of the gaps, but where is Sims with regards to these guys? Now makes right towards turn 1. And goes past his teammate. Where is Mulder? Just on the right hand side, so he does cover that undercut that Sims attempts. But of course, Mulder's got cold tyres, Sims does not, so the time to attack could be out of the looping section now, down towards entry, out of entry corner towards Brooklands, gets the DRS now. Mulder goes on the left hand side to try and defend from the slipstream and the toe, and I think he's done enough to hold it, but it's very fine margins between them.
Yeah, so it's a good defensive work there from Mulder. That wasn't quite enough realistically for a move. But we'll have to see now. Leopard has been absolutely pushing on this lap. He actually set a purple middle sector on this lap, so he's coming in now. Can Leopard technically pull an overcut? We'll see. Brondy obviously hasn't come out in traffic, but he has been very quick so far on this lap. He hasn't really burnt much with DRS. That's quite surprising, actually. With Mulder going as quickly as he is. Now trundling down 37 miles an hour. I'm not quite sure what AZ Columbus, for people who speak in the alternate language, are wrong. Makes way down now. Is he going to have enough? I think he... Oh, what do you think, Jack? It's going to be really close.
It's going to be close as they now come up towards turn 1 as the pit strategy's only just opened according to AWS, so that's definitely wrong. But here comes Burundi towards turn 1. He goes past. What about his teammate? It's about the same, so we are as we were really in this one. And the crucial thing to mention as well, there's only one driver who opted to start on the medium, so in terms of traffic, there isn't really a lot of traffic.
Only Ventham he'll have to deal with, which I think makes his work a hell of a lot easier. But now Leopard becomes the cork in the bottle, I guess. But we'll see.
This is really interesting because, of course, Burundi's got to get 5 seconds ahead of these guys. Well, only 2 seconds ahead of Mulder because he did pick up a 3-second time penalty. At Cop's Corner, as Leopard had a really twitchy moment there through the aforementioned Cop's Corner. Let's see, however, what happens, because at the moment, the top 3, I mean, could you imagine if we had this for a top 3 in a Grand Prix? Flying Finn from X-Ray Ventham, from Drizzt's Revenge. What a podium we would have. That would well and truly be an absolute spectacle. But into the pits comes Brad. Flying Finn stays out. His teammate elsewhere has pit the lap before, so Ferrari pretty much sticking to both cars on the similar strategies. Leopard got back inside a second of Burundi, and this is the crucial thing for Leopard. He's someone who wants to win on track.
Leopard, I don't think Leopard will even... I don't think Leopard will even... Well, he won't know about Burundi's penalty. As... Well, I don't think even if he asks Jeff, I don't think Jeff will tell him he's got 5 seconds. So, to Leopard's knowledge, he's straight up racing this. He's straight up racing Burundi. He'll be reading information back. We are racing Burundi, nobody else. Get the Brazilian.
Yeah, this could be really good in terms of spectacles. Leopard just gone purple at the first sector, but he did mention that on his in-lap, he was purple in the second sector, so is that a sign that Leopard has got more pace to use in this Grand Prix?
Potentially. I think Leopard's got incredible race pace right now. His setup is very much working, and there's a very real chance he could quite easily win this race, and without even having to use the penalties. Probably he started to defend now. He started to take more defensive lines, and starting to use a little bit more of the DRS. One thing I've known from Burundi, I've seen, is he doesn't tend to panic. I've never really seen him cause any major accidents or anything like that that wasn't through his internet. And I've never really seen him cause an accident through panic. nor particularly have I seen it from Leopard. However, we spoke about this being weakness of Mulder. Speaking of Mulder, I think he might have fallen out of DRS.
He has. Only just, but he has. And also, Boris, by the way, has lost a bit of time here. He's down 1.4 seconds now. Of course, he was on the back of his teammate on the soft stint, so he's obviously lost some time throughout the various pit stops that have happened. But here comes Leopard on Burundi. He's getting closer and closer. He's not in overtake. Not going to think about a move at Brutland's corner, but this is all just teetering towards an opportunity potentially at a very infamous corner for overtaking for big moves. Stowe.
Well, the famous 1987 PK and Mansell down at Stowe. Leopard probably create their own, and well, I would be against it. Unfortunately, they all dramatically semi-hate each other teammates, so
It could be. If we could make it happen, that'd be fun.
or we could end up with Leopard and Mold doing that instead.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine them two come together? Never really the end of it. In terms of steering last week, we should mention what actually happened. So Nottingham F1 was awarded the qualifying ban for impeding F1, who of course has gone out. Nottingham F1 is not here for this week. And also, Bill Burundi got a 10-second penalty for hitting the back of Pierre Giamato in the early stages of the Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Positions weren't affected.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So Burundi got a little accident. I'm surprised that they didn't get passed over on this weekend, but well, let's see Pietro. I think Pietro right now is just waiting out for a safety car. Someone checks safety car still on. Yes, it is. I think he's just out there right now, just waiting out for a safety car, not taking any unnecessary risks. The Burundi, Leopard, Mulder, Sims, Boris. They're all, well, not Boris is actually out of DRS train, but they're all in this.
This could be interesting.
Oh, Bentham.
Because we mentioned that traffic shouldn't be too much of a problem, but you've got to question, has Burundi
It didn't make
caught him in
sense.
the wrong place? Because he's now got DRS heading up towards Stowe. He's not close enough for a move on this attempt. He'll have to be at Brooklands corner unless he does do a lunge heading towards the arena and the loop section of Village.
Maybe sent it down at turn 3, the DRS detection zone. He's at turn 3, especially on the entrance of turn 3, so you can theoretically fall on absolutely send somebody from Narnia. It tends to be my strategy if I lap to actually send somebody from Narnia down at turn 3. So we'll see if Brody takes that approach. He's got a little bit run here, could just work the DRS to try and go for it, but no, he's going to wait to the straight, which is going to cost me even more time. If I'm looking back right now, I'll probably have Romeo. Leopard with a send!
Oh.
Leopard wanted the send, didn't quite get the best exit. And now, this is where the problem comes for Leopard. If he can't as well get past Bentham, Bentham of which is defending, he's not giving up this race lead, he goes deep. And that will pretty much hand it to Brody, but he defends from Leopard. This is not the best idea. But now Mulder is far behind. Yeah, this might just lead us to a straight 2-horse fight now.
Yeah, this could be really crucial now in terms of the Grand Prix. And you would say that Leopard fancied a little bit of a sort of peek to the inside. By the way, Dan is now into the points, just past Flying Finn, into P10 of course. Still going to pit as well, so there could be 2 points up for those lower down drivers. But here comes Mulder, closing up towards Expo Bentham, goes to the right hand side, and a relatively easy move for him. What about Sims? Because he's now the next car.
Mulder has done it in a way. He's still inside of the DRS with Bentham.
Oh no!
Oh, contact! The two team LCR drivers come together, and I think Bentham's recorded that. Oh dear.
Oh no,
he's had a screen freeze.
He's got lag.
Yeah, he's had a screen freeze. Oh dear. Well, I think the angriest person out of that situation is going to be Pepsi. Seeing 2 of his drivers come together. Incoming angry Pepsi.
That was difficult, wasn't it? It was a difficult collision, you have to say. you know, you had a really tough spot for either driver. But now we've got an interesting concept because Burundi has only got left with 3 attempts back now, but Mulder's now got a bit of a gap behind him to Sims, and he's still within an arm's reach. So there's still 4 drivers that could arguably win this race. As Leopard has a big moment out of Cop's corner, again survives by the skin of his teeth through that very tough flat-out right-hander, and now has got to reset himself again. That's the second time he's done that, and you know the old saying, third time's the charm. Could it be the third time that sees him careering off into a wall? Really interesting stuff in this Grand Prix so far. It has been very much one to keep your eye on. As Leopard now and Burundi, they begin lap 16 of 26 in this Grand Prix. As X-Ray Ventum takes the opportunity to come into the pits to do about 10 laps or so on the soft compound tyres.
You scared the crap
It's going to miss a lot of time.
I was sending a voice message to Michael, the under ERL, and I just heard you almost scream when Leopard went, so I immediately just turned around and just screamed myself because I saw what you were on about. Oh dear. So, if I get an angry message in a minute, it's your fault.
Ah, fair enough. I'll take the blame. I don't mind. Never met him, so you know. Anyway,
technically,
out the pits comes. Technically, yeah. Out the pits comes X-Ray Ventum. He's now P12, and also means that Dan is on for 2 points. There's a really good battle at the lower end of the points between the 2 Ferraris and the Haas. With now
this is staged, isn't it? This is staged, isn't it? Vin, Dan, and Brad all going at it for the final couple of points positions. Something about this just feels a bit fishy.
We're having a well of a time. Meanwhile, Leopard's getting close again, heading towards Stowe Corner. Has to back off. And this is the thing, right? Leopard was attacking early on, yeah, to get himself into P2. Then he got into P2. Then he attacked a bit more to try and sort of, I suppose, test the water is what I would say. But then since the pit stop, he's now been like creeping up, backing off, creeping up, backing off. It's just not been quite so offensive, and that is not going to help Burundi.
Penalty is not. That might be Project Race. Now, Burundi has been running 27.9s, and Leopard himself has been doing 27.9s. They are just matching each other on pace. There is no point right now in spending a lot of time just trying to beat crap out of him on track.
Incredible that still the top 4 remain within about half a second to each other. Boris has really dropped back by the way, 3 seconds, and has got Melanie slowly creeping up towards him, along with John Papp as well, as John's had a really good resurgency drive after the spin. He's up to P7, just behind Melanie now for P6 scores. As mentioned, as I mentioned during the pit stop, he had a very good run in qualifying, got a really surprising lap time late on, but sadly did fall down the order towards the end to get P5. One point was P3 in the session, but that's a poor run from Burundi, and this could be the opportunity that Leopard wants. Heading up towards Stowe Curve, he's closing in with a DRS, he's got to the right hand side, he's going to be close enough for a move this time round. He is not, but that's another knock on the door. It's really sink your teeth stuff here at the British Grand Prix. It's not been the most punchy as we have seen in previous seasons, of course. LCR Season 6 comes to mind, when of course Leopard took a victory in a very much different Grand Prix. What would be incredible, by the way, is if Sims could win this and we have 7 different winners in 8 races, but that's looking more unlikely because the top 3 have all won a race this season. Burundi won the Bahrain Grand Prix at the start of the season. As for second place, Leopard took the victory, of course, at Austria last time out, and for that, Mulder took his first victory in a long time, way back to Italy Season 6, when he won. Leopard took the title that day. However, at Canada, it was all about him on that particular day. But now, Leopard once again drops back through the second sector, and that's interesting that Mulder always seems to get the closest to all of them throughout this second sector. It always seems to be an advantage towards the Dutchman. Really interesting stuff here at the moment as they come through towards Maggotts and Beckett once again, and Leopard He used to take a more sort of conservative line through the first part and then more aggressive through the second, whereas Mulder was aggressive through the first. It's incredible to see all these different lines taken by different style of drivers. But once again, Leopard closes towards Burundi and then still has not got the opportunity. The lap continue to tick on and on and on. And there's only one way this is currently going. A Leopard win with Sims in second, Mulder in third. Because of course Mulder has the free time in his name as well. So in fact, out of all of this, Sims could actually gain on the championship hunt out of this round. But there's still a lot of racing left to be done.
Certainly so. We have just under 7 laps to go here. Rodney leads, Leopard second, Mulder third, Sims fourth, Boris fifth. Boris actually improved with No Man's Land. Melanie P6, jump up to P7. Actually, correction, No Man's Land right now belongs to D. 7 seconds in front, 18.5 seconds back. There's jump up now. He's actually lining up Melanie down into Brooklyn. To the outside line he goes. The Greek on the fin. Two of the more successful drivers in LCR history. Rally outside goes John Pat. Nearly back wheels. I believe John Pat was the winner here in season 4 and gets the move done. Does he? Yes, he does. John Pat up into P6. Don't quote me on the season 4 thing. I know John won 2 races in season 4.
Yeah, he was the driver that actually had the most wins in a season that he didn't win the championship. Of course, holds the record for that one as well. So there's your fun fact. At the moment, as you can see now, Melanie's still on board because he's just now behind John Papp. He's got himself with a P6. As I mentioned, a good recovery drive after that spin that he had early on in this one. Fun fact, he didn't actually win that. He comes second. It was actually TY Leopard that took the victory on that day. Never heard of him. Who's he?
I don't know, just some German. I think won the first 2 seasons under TOR name and then switched to LCR for the rest of it.
And it's quite incredible, by the way, that just looking back at that stat, it was the 55th LCR race in our history. And the podium had a Finnish driver on the podium, KLC Jani.
Oh, wow! I don't think I did that race. I think I actually commentated that, you know. I do not remember racing that at all.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, you did, because I think I was away for that. I don't remember commentating.
Well, hey, it's worth maybe looking at the old. Maybe worth looking back. It's always nice looking back at the LCR archives because, god damn it, they are big.
Yeah, it's really interesting to of course look at the previous stats. So there is actually a spreadsheet if you guys are ever interested in having a bit of reading. LCR World Stats is it's called on Google Spreadsheets. It's a fantastic document filled with all sorts of different information about the drivers across the leagues. As Boris has got a penalty. Now, could you do me a quick favour, Ben? Just check to see if John has a penalty. Or Melanie as well.
I'm just not going to talk about it, John. Melanie has a warning. John has nearly 12 seconds.
Oh God, that's not good at all.
I was just saying earlier, it's quite difficult to not pick up warnings here. In comes John Pat. That's just dope. Or Bobby, you know, John's like the 43. Fun fact.
He was, yes. It's interesting, by the way, that Leopard just went purple in the final sector on that particular lap. Started turning up the heat a bit in these.
Oh, I'm not looking at Leopard's ERS for a quarter of the lap. Oh, he is cooking electric. Does not make sense. That only works for Forza. He's turning electric power into speed and more speed. It's like a 16-year-old at a nightclub.
Very interpretive way to look at stuff in, of course, LCR World. For the final 6 laps or so, it looks to be turning up the heat as any of the top 4, you would argue, still has a case to potentially claim the victory. Burundi has just got to remain in front and try and create a gap, but it's looking less and less likely. Mulder's got a 3-set penalty hanging over his head. Sims potentially could take P2 out of all of this, incredibly. But Leopard is still keeping up towards him.
Just thinking right now the order, how it's going to finish. It's going to finish Leopard, Sims, Mulder, Burundi, which, if you just look at the championship, well, the title battle is back on, let's put it that way.
The gap, 6 points.
The gap will come down by 6 points, which will make the championship lead down to 15. Leopard will also move up onto... Leopard will move on to 67, no, 68.
68.
Which will put him in front of Dralex and Aiden. So it looks P5 and will only be around 60 points behind.
Look at Mulder. He's keeping his teammate for... Oh, he snaps the back end, but he was purple at the first sector split. This is always what usually happens, isn't it? You usually see the guy that's sort of slap bang in the middle of a train can start to turn it up, and Mulder did turn up. Of course, he was on the front row in terms of qualifying. Out-qualified his teammate, but in the early stages, Leopard let him through.
Best points are actually with when it comes to Mulder. Mulder's going to go up to P6 in the championship, and Red Bull are going to jump up, I believe, potentially in front of Alfa Romeo in the constructors. Don't quote me on that, but I think they might.
25, 40, that'd be tied. It'll actually be tied because there's 18 points between them.
I knew it was close.
And it'd be 40 points for Red Bull, just 12 out for... Yeah, so there's 18 points between that.
That's 30. That's 30 points. That's 30 points.
Oh, anyway, yeah, Red Bull should be ahead of Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, I believe Red Bull should be 10 points behind, which I think is going to also bring them because they're going to go to 124. Alfa Romeo will go on to 114. So it will also mean that it's going to get very, very close for second in the constructors. And with Melanie only down in P7, the Constructors' Championship, not something we talk about very often in LCR, is on.
It is. It's really interesting to see how
we really spoke about the Constructors' title, especially last season. I think last season you had Ciro and Ciro Felipe just go yeet out the window. But
of course, in season 7, the Alpha Males, we were sort of in an arm's reach, but we couldn't really keep up with Dralex and Leopard. We didn't quite have the capabilities.
That was a bit hard.
Really interesting. Because you've got the Red Bulls charging up as well. They're going to be two guys you expect to see towards the front for the remainder of the season, but they started at a disadvantage, so they're almost playing catch up in these rounds. But 3 laps to go, left of the British Grand Prix, and the laps continue to run out, and it looks to be we're going to finish with Leopard on the top step, Sims on the second, and Mulder on the third. Perundi's going to drop outside the podium despite leading almost every lap of the British Grand Prix.
Well, 1 5-second time penalty can pretty much ruin your race. I've got a feeling. Do you think Leopard knows now? Or do you think this is still the same old Leopard who's just going to absolutely send it on the final lap, potentially risk his old championship?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but I do think there is an element that at least he knows he knows at least there's a 3 seconds. Because Jeff will tell him that. As X-Ray Ventum goes into the pits and retires from the session. By the way, the 2 Ferraris won for a double points finish with 2 at 1 point respectively. Well, go on, lads.
For the second time this season?
I think we've scored points in separate races.
Well, I believe they've
no, because Dan scored his at Dutch. Sorry, we have to stop here because Leopard is getting closer and closer towards Stowe.
He had the perfect opportunity then. He had the run, he had thinking. Mulder had everything turned up. Mulder was going for it. Mulder was looking like he wanted to overtake his teammate. Mulder right now, he's just going. He just finished where he was. He wasn't if he was going to go for absolute 90 around the exit. And now Sims is potentially thinking about a move on Mulder. Sims is actually potentially the best place out of the ball here with only a singular warning.
Oh, Jesus Christ. X-Ray Ventum's AI come out the pits on the right-hand side. And I got really scared for a second because I thought he was going to go careering into him.
That would have been a monumental accident. Perondi's got everything turned down. Perondi.
So was Leopard.
No, Perondi's being cheeky with Leopard. Perondi wants Leopard to overtake him. They are playing mind games with each other. Melody and Jump Up, however, are going at it for P5 and P6 P7. Melody gets back ahead of John. not that it means naff all, but Pietro Normato thinks the fast lap of the race. He's actually come onto the back. Hang on, Pietro. Oh, flight bit's gone. It's gone.
Oh, no.
2 to go. The great battle that was happening, and Pietro finally about to break some... This is going to hurt Pietro, surely. Italian born and bred.
Leffers turned it up. Leffers turned it up.
Hang on.
Heading towards Stowe, goes to the outside line. Long way round for the German against Burundi, trying to squeeze him onto the apex. Can he hold it? Yes, he can. And for the first time in the British Grand Prix, Leopard leads as we enter towards the final lap of proceedings. Burundi has now fallen down to P2 at the very blink of an eye.
I don't think Burundi's going to give this up. I can see Burundi wanting to at least say he won the race on track. It's not a Brazilian mentality to give up. Will he send it? No, he does not. But it's very low on the brakes. He's locking those tyres. I think Burundi's tyres might be fairly finished. Leopard is got a great exit. That's it. Leopard's got this race. I think in the bag. It's whether Mulder can get past Burundi as well. Mulder, will he go full send? No, he does not. Purple's the first sector though, Mulder. Better look for the right side. Has a look to the inside down at left field. Does not go for the move. Sims just behind him. They got Melanie and Belly's on the back of Boris. What the hell has that happened? Melanie's got himself on the back of Boris. That's what feels like a 3-second gap between them.
Must have done. Nevertheless, round towards the final couple few corners, and Mulder gets a second time penalty.
Oh dear!
I mean, it's not going to mean much in terms of the grand scheme of things because he's still got to be 2 seconds between Mulder and Burundi for that podium. But here comes Sims on Mulder.
If Sims and Mulder battling off, then it could actually do this. Mulder defends on the inside, holds off Sims for now. I'm going to give it Leopard and Burundi into the far chicane for the final time.
It has been a very close and cagey affair, but Leopard wins for 2 weeks in a row. Sims brings home another podium, despite not being on the podium throughout the entire Grand Prix. Brad's going to come home with 2 points because Pietramato's all over the back end, head up towards Stowe. He's going to go for the inside, the Italian. Oh my goodness me.
This was Pietro overtaking a Ferrari for the final points position. He punched them. He went for the NASCAR approach. Don't pump an American, you'll let him get punched in the face. Brad's out of fuel! Brad's out of fuel! Pietro got him!